following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. It's time for the MSP North Podcast with your hosts Brady McAtamney and Blaine Keller, covering high school sports across Montgomery and Robertson counties. Now we head up north. Here are your hosts, Brady and Blaine.
Welcome back to the MSP North Podcast, guys. I know I say this every week, but this week I really mean it. We have an awesome show lined up for you today. Some good guests with some big news. Why don't we get straight into it, Blaine? We are joined today by someone who really fits the bill of this being a Robertson and Montgomery County sports podcast with Clay Head, the newest head coach of the Rossview Hawks girls basketball team, moving over from White House Heritage. Clay, first off, congratulations, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thanks for all that you guys do for our high school sports.
Absolutely. It is our pleasure. So we're recording this on Wednesday. You first spoke to your new team yesterday on Tuesday, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. So what was the message to them? What were some of the things that you guys went over in that first meeting?
Well, obviously, it was an introduction to me, my family, kind of my background, and I got to know them, and try to learn names here at the beginning. We didn't talk about scheme or anything like that because, honestly, I don't know what that's going to be without seeing what we have. So it was just a chance to introduce myself and just kind of talk a little bit about, where I see our program, what I see it looking like, where I see it heading, and how excited I am to be their coach.
And Coach, you spent the past 8 seasons at White House Heritage amassing over 100 wins, but something I think I was told by a couple of people at White House Heritage, your wife is in the Montgomery County school system and you live in Clarksville, if I have that right. Just a first one here, how nice is it to not have to drive on I-24 every day now?
Well, I live in Robertson County, but it's right on the Robertson-Montgomery County line. So the drive will be, much, much shorter. And being in the same district as my wife, and I have 2 boys in an elementary school in Montgomery County and a little girl who will be there shortly. So just being closer to them and being able to help her out, pick some kids up, or if one gets sick or, something of that nature is going to be big for my family. So, it definitely was one of the attractive parts of moving to Montgomery County.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives you the same spring breaks and Christmas breaks and first day of summer, first day of school and everything too. Yep,
that'll be big.
Yeah, so obviously one of the big differences between Robertson and Montgomery County is going to be the level of competition. Montgomery definitely well known as a basketball county, and especially on the girls' side. You look at some of the talent in the county, you're going to get to see 2 years of Amari Berry at Clarksville High, and there's definitely a lot of talent in that district and that region that you're going to be seeing. Is that something you look forward to and something that you have thought a little bit about now that you are at Rossview?
Absolutely. Like you said, the quality of the athletes in the basketball in Montgomery County is really, really high. Probably second to very few places in our state. So being there is a challenge, and it's something that I look forward to. I could have stayed in my comfort zone, kind of where I'm at, but I've always wanted to challenge myself, and going to Rossview will be a challenge because I know the quality of basketball there, but I also know the support that the school and the community gives to their basketball programs. And, I've been overwhelmed from people in the community, from the administrators, people in the school building, all talking about how much support they give to athletics and how much, they care about their sports and their sports teams and having success.
Well, Coach, I know Brady kind of mentioned some of the talent there, but, obviously one of the big ones that you'll get next year is Tory James, a player who might be able to go on and play Division I girls basketball. And, Rossview just had a Division I player leave in Sydney James DeRoche. In your mind, when you talk about having a challenge and, kind of challenging yourself a little bit, what do you think you're most excited about?
Well, getting to coach the quality of athletes like Tory and some of the other girls coming through our program, it's exciting. Concepts and skills that they have and that they already have been exposed to, it's going to be much higher level than maybe some of the things that, I've been used to around here. So it's going to be extremely exciting to just see how far we can push players like Tory and other players on our team, and, just to see how far they can go.
Yeah, have you started to watch any of the film on any of the girls that you're expecting to have back? Or are you kind of putting the basketball aspect off a little bit as you kind of start to more just get connected to them as people?
Well, obviously, yeah, I want to get to know them as people and want to, show them how much I care and how much I'm interested and invested in getting to know them outside of the basketball court. And, I also too, I want to make sure I go into our first spring practices with a blank slate in mind. That being said, curiosity, like I couldn't have not looked up and the players and watched some of the film. Even before I took the job, I was already watching huddle highlights. I was able to get a couple of films from Rossview from last year from other coaches that played them that I know. So I'd already started doing research and, looking to see who was coming back and just to see any kind of information I could about them. So it's exciting. And, like I told the girls yesterday, they all are starting off completely blank. I don't have any preconceived notions and I want to see what they have. But, with that being said, I definitely have been excited to watch some of the girls and see, some of their AAU highlights, not just Huddle and Rossview, but what they do outside of the school as well.
And Coach, you spent a long time in Robertson County, as we mentioned, 8 years at White House Heritage, and went to Joe Burns as a student before that. You've spent a long time in this area. I know you've talked a little bit about this in some introductory interviews, but how tough was it to kind of make this decision and leave a place that you probably consider home?
Well, it was extremely tough. And, the communities, the people outside of the community or outside of the schools that are in the community, it was tough to leave that. And when you coach, you really are investing. I mean, you're investing in so much more than just what's happening on the floor. The girls in the locker room, their parents, their brothers, their sisters. So, that investment and all the great experiences that I've had here at White House Heritage with the faculty, with the administration, anyone and everyone, it made it really tough. But also, I'm looking forward to building those same relationships and having those same experiences at Rossview. And, one of the things that we'll talk about with the girls is stepping out of their comfort zone and trying to do more, trying to improve, trying to work hard and try different things on the floor. And, for me personally, this is kind of the same boat. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone where I was comfortable and looking forward to taking on this challenge and continuing to build, what's already a great tradition at Rossview.
Yeah, and actually, your last name, Head, is one that's been around the city of Clarksville for a while. Of course, the big one being Pat Summit before she was married, being Pat Head, from Montgomery County, Clarksville. There's Mike Head, an assistant at Clarksville High, the boys team. Bobby Head, former Austin P baseball player. Do you have any relations with anyone that you're related to in the county that already is here, other than obviously your wife and kids?
Well, the Head family is definitely a strong family in the Montgomery Robertson County region. So I know Mike. I know he went to Joe Burns as well. We were not related, but certainly followed him and what he's done at Clarksville High with Coach Young. And Pat Summit actually is my second cousin. Her father and my granddad were brothers, so I do have that connection, and with all her family, as well.
So you could definitely say basketball is part of your blood in that case. Very cool relative to have there. Well, Clay, thank you so much for joining us today. It was absolutely a pleasure to get you on, as I'm sure this is probably somewhat of a crazy week for you. Congratulations again, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you guys so much. And once again, thank you for all that you do for high school sports in our area.
It's our pleasure. Thank you, Clay. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Johnathan Sutton, Greenbrier soccer coach.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Nobody covers high school sports quite like Main Street Preps, bringing you hyper-local coverage of the teams and athletes in your backyard. Wherever your Main Street is, we've got a podcast for you. From the Sumner County Sports Podcast with Zach Womble, Casey's Take on Sports with Dixon Post and Cheatham County Exchange's sports reporter Casey Patrick, the MSP North Podcast with Brady McAtemney and Blaine Keller covering Montgomery and Robertson counties, to Main Street Preps this week with Russell Venozzi and Tyler Palmatier with a macro view of prep sports in Middle Tennessee. Find the latest prep sports news from your Main Street at mainstreetpreps.com and find these podcasts dropping weekly on these Main Street Media social platforms and wherever you get your podcast. Now we take you back up north. Your hosts, the MSP North Podcast, Brady McAtemney and Blaine Keller.
Welcome back to the MSP North Podcast. Some great stuff that we're doing here, but let's go from a coach that is leaving Robertson County into Montgomery County to a coach that is in his first season in Robertson County. Our second guest today, Greenbrier soccer coach Johnathan Sutton, in his first year coaching the boys side. Coach Sutton, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be here.
Well, congratulations are in order to you, Coach Sutton. You know, on Monday, I believe, of this week with the 5-0 win over Macon County, Greenbrier clinched its first ever regular season district title. I know we talked a little bit earlier in the week before after you all defeated White House Heritage. It's been a landmark season, but, you know, what were the emotions like after getting that win and, you know, clinching that regular season title for your team?
Oh, it felt amazing, you know, kind of pulling. I'll be honest, we didn't start out the best that game, so that was a little frustrating. I kind of had a big discussion with the boys about, hey, pick it up, play better. If you guys want this, then take it. And by the end of the game, it was 5-0. So kind of pulling them in and, just kind of having that discussion of you're trying to reiterate what we are as a team to make sure that we're growing as a team. And then also trying to compliment them and let them know that they've done something that no other team in Greenbrier history's done. To win the district regular season championship is just amazing, and it sets you in a great place to work towards your future goals. And, you could see it on their face. They were smiling, they were happy. They still understand we still got another game against Portland to go. But, accomplishing something like that, I think for them was also just a sense of relief. I think their excitement and kind of their rah-rah moments were coming against when we beat White House and Heritage. But I think when we finished it off against Macon, it was like, all right, like we've accomplished this, but we want more. And so let's go get more. So it was great to kind of see that excitement on the boys' face after our little talk after the game.
It seems like the key word for you guys this season is first. This is your first year with the team. It's the team's first ever district title. Is this something that you could have expected coming into this season with you guys, with Greenbrier never having done something like this?
No, I knew that the team last year, I'll be honest, I think I went to one game last year. I'm one of those coaches, I don't like to go to other sporting events sometimes because I sit there and analyze from a coach instead of just enjoying from a fan perspective. So I went to one of their games and I saw that they had talent. But coming into the district, I knew White House was very good, had been notoriously good over the last decade or so. Heritage has been very dominant in the more recent years. So I didn't know what to expect. I knew that my main goal was I wanted to go after White House. That was something the boys had we had never beat them. And a lot of times our games weren't even close. You're looking 5-1, 6-1, 8-2. And so that was kind of our speech from the get-go. As soon as we were allowed to start practicing, it was, all right, this is our goal. This is what we're going to do. This is going to be our first. This is whatever happens from there. This is the first we want to match up on. And so it was really based off White House because they were going to be our first district game. And then winning that, it was like, all right, we have that goal of also going to regions. But now that we've accomplished this, let's see what else first we can get. And I think the boys kind of jumped on that very quickly. I think sometimes you can set too lofty of a goal, and sometimes you just need one little small goal. And once they hit that, then they go, oh, wow, there's a world of possibilities. And I think when they were able to beat White House, they said, wow, that's never been done. So let's do something we've never done also. And these other things are possibilities. And the boys have just jumped on that and just kind of rode the wave, so to speak. I mean, first team to beat White House, first team to win, your district regular season, and of course we still got more first we want that district championship. We want to go to regions. We want to be the first team to make it to regional finals, sectionals. I think in Greenbrier's history there's been one other team who's made it to regional. But kind of always moving forward, playing better every game is our goal right now.
Well, Coach, I think you hit the nail on the head there when you talk about setting lofty goals. I know we talked a couple of weeks ago after that Heritage game, and you said the goal at that point was to reach the region tournament. And now, you're kind of one step closer to that with having the number one seed heading into the district tournament. But I'm sure that you're trying to be kind of cautious with those expectations too, as they may change a little bit, especially considering maybe the basketball team over the winter had a 25-win season and then lost in the region tournament with maybe aspirations of reaching the state tournament that year. Is there any caution? Or are you trying to be careful with the expectations now that they're kind of changing a little bit?
Yeah, I'll be honest with when we were at Macon County, that was something I did tell the boys at halftime. I said, right now you guys are satisfied. And if you're satisfied with what you're doing, you're not going to be able to reach your potential. And I said the most dangerous thing about being satisfied and looking back and going, oh, look, we're 7-1 or we're 8-1 now. All you're doing is admiring what you've done in the past. And what you're forgetting is that other teams are getting better. You have to continue to get better. And I told the boys that, and I said, and the biggest dangerous thing is right now, if you keep these games close against Macon County and Portland, who we're probably going to meet in the first round of the district tournament, if you only beat them 1-2-0, then you're giving them hope that they can beat you. But if you come out and you play the way you're supposed to and they don't feel like they have any chance to beat you, then that gives you kind of the upper hand when you play them, and you're not looking at a district upset. Because if we lose in the semifinals, our season's done. You know, we're not going to reach our goal of going to region. And that's the first step in that kind of that next season, so to speak. Now that we've kind of, quote unquote, almost finished our regular season district, you know, your second season is that district tournament. And in our district, you have to be in the championship game to make it to region. So even though we've, you know, it looks like we're going well, are we still moving forward so we can reach that goal? And I think the boys kind of understood that. They were like, okay, you know, we see it. We can't go through the motions. We actually have to come out here and bust our butts, go 100%, win every ball, and dominate the team so that they understand who we are when we're at our best, and that it doesn't matter who you are, we're going to bring it every day. And when in the second half against Macon County, I mean, we stepped up. We scored 4 goals. I'm not even sure if they maybe 1 or 2 shots in the second half, probably from 30 yards out, nothing dangerous, which was different from the first half where we made some mistakes and they got some shots off. So, you know, walking off the field, our boys their heads are held high. Macon County kind of had their heads down a little bit, but that's what you want to impress on them going forward is, hey, this is who we are. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to play at 1,000% to beat us, because we don't care who you are. We're coming hard every single day to do our best so that we can reach our goals.
Well, it seems like there's a lot of history still to be made with Greenbrier soccer this season. Still 1 loss and just 1 more district match to be played. Coach Sutton, thanks for joining us today, and best of luck throughout the rest of this regular season.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all having us.
Thanks, Johnathan.
We'll take 1 more break here on the MSP North podcast. When we come back, we'll give you our one thing, performance of the week, and game of the week.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Weekdays at 2, it is Main Street Sports Today, from preps to pros, with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao, along with producer JP Plant. They talk preps to college to pro and everything in between. It's Main Street Sports Today, weekdays live at 2 p.m. Central. On this Thursday edition, as always, the team and player of the week, plus this day in Braves history every day with the Hall of Famer Mo Patton. Join Mo, Chris, and JP weekdays live at 2 on all these Main Street media outlets and wherever you get your podcast. Once again, back up north, we go to Blaine and Brady.
Man, we got to get our own back-to-back shot like that. Chris and Mo looking cool as heck there.
Lethal Weapon, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Lethal Weapon. I totally just had. What's the one? Tom Cruise, Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins. Top Gun. Top Gun. Yeah, they got their own,
Top Gun.
their own Top Gun look going there. But anyway, we're back. We got our awesome interviews in today with Clay Head and Johnathan Sutton. Now it's time to do our favorite segments, of course, the One Thing segments, Games of the Week, and our Performances of the Week. I'll start us off with my first one thing, and that's going to be that Springfield and Clarksville softball will meet on Tuesday of next week, and that's going to decide District 13 4A. These are, I think, inarguably the two best teams in that district. They already played one really close game where Emberly Nichols walked it off for Clarksville with a 2-0 win. These are two incredible pitchers that are going at each other with Nichols and Springfield's Brias Mundy. And whoever wins that game is going to get that number 1 seed in the district tournament, And but they're going to meet again. You know that it's not going to be the last time they see each other. They're going to see each other for that district championship most likely, and they may see each other for another region championship as well. So definitely looking forward to that game on Tuesday.
Well, I think you hit it there. You said, best two teams in District 13 4A, maybe some of the best two teams in the mid-state. Those are two really, really solid teams, and they showed it the last time they played. Let's start off in celebration. On Monday, the Robertson County Commission designated April 19th as East Robertson Boys Basketball and Cheerleaders Day, exactly 1 month after the East Robertson boys basketball team won the Class 1A state championship in a magical run. It's well documented, but not something I don't think anybody was expecting an official day on it. So definitely really interesting to witness that and watch that and celebrate it as well.
Yeah, how cool is that? Having your own day in history, April 19th. These guys and girls will have kids someday. They can be like, hey, today's my holiday. Let's go get pizza. Let's go get steaks for celebrating mom and dad. So that's very cool that Robertson County was able to do something like that for them. Looking at my second one thing, I want to look at Rossview Soccer. They are still undefeated this season. They're just having a heck of a year, and I want to read off some of these scores that they've had this season. They're not just undefeated. They're winning games. We talked to Johnathan Sutton. He talked about how good White House is. They beat them 6-0. Beat Springfield 7-1. Kenwood 7-0. Pope John Paul 7-1. Northwest 9-0. And West Creek 9-0. So they're not just beating teams. They're beating the snot out of teams. So Rossview having just a fantastic season. They're going to be playing Brentwood on Thursday. So that's going to be a big game. Clarksville on the 26th. White House Heritage on the 28th, so definitely plenty of tests in front of them.
Well, I think they're probably looking for revenge against Northeast in that district championship last year. That kind of knocked them into the traveling side of the region and knocked them out in the first round. After Northeast was getting revenge on Rossview the year before, it just kind of looks like those two will probably be destined to meet in that district championship again.
Definitely.
Let's go from the old White House Heritage girls basketball coach to the new one shortly after Clay Head was announced as Rossview's newest girls basketball coach. Assistant Principal Stephen Owens announced that middle school boys coach Craig Logan is destined to take over the spot for Head. He spent 1 season as the middle school boys coach at White House Heritage and spent 10 seasons as the middle school girls coach at TW Hunter before that. So very well seasoned in the middle school game. Talking with him this afternoon, not sure if this is, I believe it to be his first high school gig, at least in Tennessee. So very exciting for him. I'm sure he'll do great things.
Absolutely. They wasted no time getting their replacement up and ready. Moving on to our Game of the Week segment. I already mentioned Rossview Soccer. Let's talk about their baseball team. Their baseball team also having a very strong year, having been ranked in the TBCA polls at one point. They've been knocked out from there for now. But they're going to have a chance. You talked about revenge with soccer. They're going to get a chance at some major revenge at baseball. against Clarksville High next week when they start a 2-game series. They'll be playing on Monday at CHS, Tuesday at Rossview, and those two teams had some games last year. Things got chippy last year. Of course, these two schools are rivals, so tensions are always high. But when these two teams are good, which they usually are, things can get even chippier. So I cannot wait to see these two teams go at each other on Monday and Tuesday after Clarksville took every game from them last year. If I had to guess, I would say that Rossview will take at least one this year.
Well, I'll agree there, and I think just because it's a rivalry, that's going to make that one even more interesting. With Clarksville being a young team, they're still going to play their best ball at that point because of who they're playing. And I think that's a similar situation with my game of the week, East Robertson and Joe Burns softball. One of the final games in District 8-1A this season. It's a tight race because there's only 3 teams, but both of these squads are looking to get a district championship. East Robertson, I believe, the first time since 2017 or 2018, and Joe Burns, the reigning District 8-1A champion. So should be a fun one there. And I think, anytime you have a rivalry game, it's always going to be one to watch.
Yeah, and now as we get into our performance of the week, I hate to spoil both of ours, but we've already talked about Springfield and Clarksville softball. 2 of the best pitchers in the mid-state with Emberly Nichols and Briaz Mundy. Of course, I want to talk about Emberly Nichols real quick here. She took a perfect game into the 7th inning against Rossview on Tuesday night. Rossview is a much improved softball team this year. They're not necessarily going to be contending for that district title with Clarksville and Springfield, but they're not getting mercied by those teams either. They're taking those games, like I said, into the 7th inning. But Emberly Nichols was just absolutely dominant in that game. She was. I actually had our friend, our great photographer, Phil Stauder there, and he looked at me. He's like, she is dealing. She is pitching like crazy, and she absolutely was. The Austin P commit absolutely dominated in that game, and she's locked in as this season gets to kind of a boiling point here.
Well, look, I think if there's one thing we do very well on this podcast, it's that we hype up Springfield and Clarksville meetings in softball. So I think if we have one purpose, it's that. So give me Briaz Mundy for the player of the week this week. A dominant 22-0 win against West Creek, 23 hits for Springfield. But as Mundy was perfect in 5 innings, I believe she struck out 12, just inching closer to that 500 mark. And she's going to need to get a couple double-digit strikeout games against Clarksville to really pull that out.
Definitely. And you mentioned that game was against West Creek. I was talking to Clarksville head coach Brian Rush after their game against Rossview yesterday on Tuesday. And they're actually having their senior night on Thursday against West Creek. They scored 11 runs on West Creek their first time playing them in the 1st inning, and just kind of pulled all the starters, let kind of the younger players have a chance. But they're playing them on senior night on Thursday. And Rush said he's going to let Emberly Nichols throw that whole game for her senior night. So I'm sure she probably saw what Briaz Mundy did against West Creek, and she'll have a chance to potentially do the same thing. So, that competitiveness, it's always there, even when they're not playing each other.
Absolutely. And I think that'll wrap us up here. Make sure to catch the MSP North podcast, catch us, follow us on Twitter. For all of these games, performances, any updates on spring sports. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
This has been the MSP North Podcast with Brady McAtemney and Blaine Keller, covering high school sports in Montgomery and Robertson counties. Follow Brady on Twitter at Brady_MSP and Blaine at sports_BK and at Main Street Preps, and always online at mainstreetpreps.com. The MSP North Podcast is a Main Street Media production.